Are you looking for the best 4K monitors? In this video we will look at some of the best 4K monitors on the market. Before we get started with our video, we have included links in the description. So make sure you check those out to see which one is in your budget range. Starting at number 1. Acer Nitro 15282KV. The Acer Nitro 15282KV is a 28-inch 4K monitor with a 144Hz refresh rate and AMD FreeSync support. It also supports HDMI 2.1, so it can handle 4K/120Hz gameplay from an Xbox Series X or PlayStation 5. The monitor is VISA Display HDR 400 certified and uses an IPS panel to deliver exceptional image quality and viewing angles. The screen looks sharp and crisp, and it has outstanding color performance including spot-on color accuracy and a very wide color gamut. This adds up to vibrant, lifelike images. Although marketed primarily to gamers, the 15282KV's color performance makes it perfect for professional content creators. The biggest flaw is a mediocre contrast ratio that leads to a hazy, dull look in dark scenes. The HDR is bright enough to add pop to some HDR scenes, but it's not a huge upgrade over SDR. This monitor is not the most affordable, but it does outperform most monitors in its price range, especially for gaming. Acer achieves this by making a few cuts to build quality. The 15282KV has a sturdy stand that adjusts for height, tilt, and swivel, but the monitor's design is plain and its construction is merely functional. At number 2. Gigabyte M27U. The Gigabyte M28U used to be the best 4K gaming monitor you could pick up for around $500. Although it's an inch smaller, the Gigabyte M27U is an improvement over its predecessor in almost every way, while costing slightly less. It's 100 nits brighter, 400 max compared to 300, has a max refresh rate of 160 Hz up from 144 Hz, and a VISA Display HDR 600. The M27U is also the first Gigabyte monitor we've reviewed with serviceable HDR performance. Although it's only rated for only up to 600 nits, highlights still pop in games and there's a noticeable difference with it enabled. Sadly, due to the M27's sub 1000:1 contrast ratio, shadowy areas can look crushed together and lose fine detail. It's not terrible, especially for the price, but you might be a bit disappointed if you're expecting OLED-level blacks. Where the M27U doesn't disappoint is in the added features. At around $500, even less on sale, it includes speakers, 3 USB-A 3.2 ports, a USB-C port with 18 watts of power delivery, and, most impressively, eschews a power brick. Many newer $1,000 gaming monitors, like the LG UltraGear OLED 27GR95QEB, lack most of, if not all of these features. The M27U is a great option if you want to dip your toes into 4K gaming without spending twice as much on a top-of-the-line monitor. Even if you only play slower-paced deck building or strategy games, the additional pixel density makes character art and fine details sing. At number 3. Gigabyte M28U. While many 4K gaming monitors can either cost upwards of $700 or stick with a basic 60Hz refresh rate, the Gigabyte M28U puts out a 4K/144Hz image signal and sometimes can be found as low as $450 on sale. It's not just a high resolution on offer, though. The M28U also has a wide color gamut that it displays accurately, with rich colors that make HDR content look great. The M28's peak brightness with HDR enabled isn't mind-blowing at just 453 nits, but affordable monitors are rarely able to offer much in this regard. The sharp visuals of 4K are just half of what the Gigabyte M28U delivers. With a 144Hz refresh rate, gameplay appears smooth and FreeSync Premium Pro can prevent screen tearing. Even some fast monitors have pixel response times that lag behind, leaving blurry ghosting trails behind moving imagery, but the Gigabyte M28's pixels largely keep up with the action, making for exceptionally clear visuals for the price. There are competent challengers in the market of 1440p gaming monitors as well as 4K gaming TVs, but as far as 4K monitors go, the Gigabyte M28U stands out as a strong value option that tops the competition. At number 4. Dell S2721QS. The Dell S2721QS is a 27-inch 4K monitor with an IPS panel. It has a 60Hz refresh rate, supports HDR, and is among the least expensive 4K monitors available. Despite its price, the S2721QS provides great image quality in a wide range of content. It has a high maximum brightness, superb sharpness, and good overall color performance. Its contrast ratio is near the top of IPS panels, so it looks better in dark scenes than most similar monitors. The monitor supports HDR input, but it's only HDR ready instead of VISA Display HDR certified. That's a bit surprising because, in our tests, it performed better than some monitors that are certified. Don't get too excited, however. While it can add vibrance to HDR content, it's only a modest improvement over SDR. Unfortunately, this monitor doesn't support adaptive sync, which will probably disappoint gamers who prefer smooth, fast-paced gameplay. It's still a great choice for games with a slower pace, such as strategy or simulation titles. This is a sleek, modern monitor that looks great on a desk and feels sturdy despite the low price. It ships with a quality stand that can adjust for height, tilt, swivel, and even rotate 90 degrees. At number 5. BenQ PD3220U. The BenQ PD3220U is a 32-inch 4K monitor designed for professional use. It has a 60Hz refresh rate, supports HDR, and uses an IPS panel. It also has a USB-C Thunderbolt 3 port with power delivery that can charge a compatible laptop. The monitor's additional USB-A ports make it useful as a USB hub. As the name implies, the PD3220U is similar to the smaller PD2725U. It shares the smaller model's top-tier color accuracy, very wide color gamut, and excellent sharpness, all of which make it a great monitor for professional content creation. However, the larger PD3220U suffers a lackluster contrast ratio that falls behind most competitors. This hurts the monitor's depth and realism when using it for entertainment. The monitor supports HDR, but at only 250 nits is nowhere near bright enough to properly display HDR content. You're better off sticking with SDR. This monitor is simple but handsome and feels expensive when handled. It has a stand that adjusts for height, tilt, and swivel, but it can't pivot due to its size. At number 6. Asus ROG Swift PG32UQX. Asus ROG Swift PG32UQX has cutting-edge technology that represents the future of computer monitors. It is a 32-inch 4K monitor with a mini-LED backlight that includes 1,152 individual dimming zones, each of which can turn on or off independently. It's VISA Display HDR 1400 certified and has an IPS panel. The monitor has great color accuracy and a very wide color gamut, traits that are obvious in movies and games but also useful for content creators. The mini-LED backlight offers the best contrast ratio of any we tested. Motion clarity is strong, too, thanks to the 144Hz refresh rate and NVIDIA G-Sync support. That's good news for gamers, who are the monitor's target audience. On the downside, it lacks HDMI 2.1. It can still handle 4K/120Hz when connected to the Xbox Series X, but not with the PlayStation 5. HDR performance is where this monitor leaps ahead of the pack. It has a maximum peak brightness of over 1,400 nits and its sustained brightness was the second highest of any monitor we tested. It also beats many HDR televisions. HDR content is so vivid you'll all but feel the heat of on-screen explosions. Build quality is outstanding. The monitor feels luxurious, with a robust, sturdy, wide stand that adjusts for height, tilt, and swivel. But it's also so large and heavy that you may have trouble finding space for it on a small desk. The P32UQX has just one serious problem: price. You could purchase 3 of our top picks, the Acer 15282KKV, for the price of Asus ROG Swift P32UQX. That's hard to justify, but those willing to open their wallets will enjoy an unparalleled visual experience. Content creators should take note of the Asus ProArt PA32UCXPK, which also has mini-LED technology. It trades a high refresh rate and adaptive sync for extra connectivity and even better color accuracy. We were not able to test it for this guide, however. At number 7. Product image of Asus ROG Strix XG43UQ. The Asus ROG Strix XG43UQ is a 43-inch 4K monitor with a 144Hz refresh rate and a VA panel. It is VISA Display HDR 1000 certified. Since the ROG Strix XG43UQ is much larger than a typical 4K monitor, it can be used as an HD TV replacement in a small room or studio apartment. Asus leans into this, and the monitor has not one but two HDMI 2.1 ports that can handle 4K/120Hz gameplay from an Xbox Series X or PlayStation 5. It's even compatible with AMD FreeSync. The monitor's VA panel provides an outstanding contrast ratio, good color performance, and a wide color gamut. Movies and games tend to look great on this monitor, but vibrant and bright content stands out the most. This monitor's extremely high maximum brightness can deliver a serious punch in HDR content. However, it lacks a mini LED backlight like that found in the Asus ROG Swift PD32UX, so HDR content can struggle when very bright objects are placed against a dark background. Although similar in size to a small television, the XG43UQ will remind you that it's a monitor. It has obvious bezels and is thicker than many HD TVs. The wide stand is more stable than many televisions but lacks the adjustment you might expect from a monitor. It can only adjust for tilt. At number 8. Samsung S32A804NMN. The Samsung S80A is a 27-inch 4K monitor with an IPS panel. It has a 60Hz refresh rate and does not support adaptive sync. A 32-inch model is also available, but we only tested the 27-inch version. This monitor's highlight is its excellent color gamut and good color accuracy. Though not the best we tested in these areas, its overall performance was outstanding given the S80's mid-range price. The monitor also has a solid contrast ratio for an IPS panel. These traits make it a great choice for content creators and creative professionals on a budget, as the S80's image is slightly more accurate and realistic than the Dell S2721QS. Samsung's monitor falls short in brightness. This leads to lackluster HDR performance. You won't see the punchy, vibrant image expected of HDR content. The S80A, like Dell's S2721QS, does not cater to gamers. It has a standard 60Hz refresh rate and does not support AMD FreeSync or NVIDIA G-Sync. Build quality is average for the price. The S80's stand is a bit less sturdy than that of competitors, and the basic, matte black design could be more attractive. It strikes back with connectivity, however, as it provides multiple USB-A ports and a USB-C connectivity.